So the Human Resources Summit, which was organized by FICCI, is a very important event for the Indian industry because it will highlight the new technologies in human resources management, which will be used in future for further developing India economy, which is booming, and I think that India economy has much better prospects after these new strategies, human resources strategies, are really employed, are really translated into life.
Thank you. Respected dignitaries on the dais, officials of FICCI, and all the participating HR managers and senior management team. It is indeed a great honor for me to participate and address you in this great event which gives importance to HR. So as you know, in India we always talk of demographic dividend, one of the few countries with a young population and a growing population. And we are now the drivers of economy based on not only Indian economy but the world economy is the growth story is mainly predicated on Indian growth these days. So we have already transitioned to a place where we are the main provider of trained manpower across the world. There are very few countries where substantial number of Indians are not there. So in this context, the role of HR in reimagining the workforce and keeping the workforce relevant for emerging technology across the world is very, very important, because it is not as if that we are catering only to India. We would have seen today's morning news. The 10,000 visa, F1 working visa quota was over in 5 minutes. So that is the demand and that is the supply of trained manpower today. So I'm sure all of you being in the field are conscious of this reality and the role of HR in keeping this system alive, where Indian parents we take a large company which has thousands of employees. The role of HR is something like a black box for a new entrant. You have to handhold that, and for the first few years, a new employee or a recent employee doesn't even know what or who is in HR. There is some, I think most of the companies have a fully digitized HR system, where everything to deal with the personal records of the employee is done online or digital. So most of the companies, the executives or the technical persons do not even meet HR. It is just a mail where you have to drop something and the response will come. So in that type of scenario, it is much more important for you to ensure that the facilities are known to the employees so that they can make use of facility and they are living a properly fulfilling life inside the company. The second point I would like to touch is about the capacity building. I think in the introductory address also it was mentioned. Sometimes there are 2-3 angles to capacity building. I have been earlier in the department, and at that time I was simultaneously holding the post of MSME secretary. Now there is I don't think MSME will be represented here in large numbers because they are very, very small HR teams, and sometimes the proprietor itself is dealing with the HR relations. So there is a big problem that the employee gets trained or employee gets facilitated, and his employee's reserve level increases. They would like to leave the MSME and go somewhere. So there is an internal inherent conflict inside the organization about whether to let the employees upgrade their status in terms of technical knowledge or work skill or team building skill or even overall personality development. Because once the development comes, there is a basic tendency to go somewhere else or search for greener pastures. So that is a fact of life. So the role of HR is basically to help them So regarding this attrition fear, I would like to mention a few points which should be kept in mind, especially by the audience today who are mature HR professionals. First is that if we are facilitating training for the employees, either you are giving training or you are guiding the employee of what training he can undergo on his or her spare time, or if you are promoting that they can get certification, either helped by the company in terms of giving flexi time or something, it is always beneficial for the society in long run. You may think that if you train them, they will get better trained and they will be ready to move in their career. Now, I would like to point it out that ready to move ahead in their career may mean that they leave you. And the short-term relief that we have trained that is living and the enhanced training will be beneficial to someone else in the society. But if you see the society as a whole, it has to be a virtuous cycle. If all of you are happy with providing training, then if one employee leaves someone to replace with somebody else, then in the market we will have a trained manpower available. So my request is that don't look at it from narrow point of view that if your employee becomes enabled, he will leave you. But if everybody is enabling employees, the overall stature of them trained manpower will increase. Because the other part of the story is that at the college level we keep hearing the problem that engineers are unemployed. And that is why I think unemployed and unemployable. And it is in a way true that there are very few places from where the job giver, the corporate sector can close its eyes and go and recruit people without bothering whether the training, whether the name of the institution itself is enough. So we have one such person in our back. So I was just telling him that for the last 15 years there has never been an occasion when one of my close relatives or their children are not studying in this college. Every year or every alternate year someone comes, passes out and peacefully gets a job. So that is what is a good institution known for. But if you see that if somebody is coming out of VIT and working in your organization, that child is much more likely to be demanding in the terms of way forward. So they may not be satisfied with the initial job. And that is part of the job cycle. And if all of you are content with giving training, the whole society will improve. So that is one major point I would like to mention. The other point I would like to mention is that the person is dissatisfied with the current job. Not in the negative term, but that they want to do something better. Then that should not be treated as a negative, because that is, I feel, the basic drive of the progress of the human society. So the dissatisfaction, in a way, if it is not a destructive dissatisfaction, it has to be treated as a positive aspect of the person's personality. The next point I would like to make is working condition. You would have seen a lot of systems have evolved in past few years. The HR was a changing field, lots of new aspects of making workplace employee friendly was already going on for last one generation. Ever since the IT came up, lots of new practices were there. But now the flexi time, I think, has become the norm. 5 years ago or 10 years ago, flexi time was a novel concept and seen as a great benefit to the employee and employer both. So I request all of you to ensure that all these new concepts which have become the norm are utilized in a much better way, so that it can benefit the employee and it can benefit the employer also. So flexi time may have been complicated long time ago, but today with technology, you can anyway track who is doing what inside your organization. And post-COVID, it has become much more prevalent. Like flexi time is a norm now, and work from home, all of you have gone through that phase of large-scale work from home, and most of the organizations are right now in transitional phase. So I'm sure there are technologies to track productivity of work from home, who is sitting at what time and who is contributing what. So my request is to utilize this type of forced conversions to work from home or flexi time into making a hybrid workplace. I think it's one of the subject also. To manage how much should be the work from home, how much from the site, how do you take care of the team building and the personality development aspects, how much interaction is basic minimum in the office to ensure that the team works as a team and not as individual silos in their homes. In fact, I would like to mention that one of the big tech companies from Chennai, which is providing major infrastructural services to US client. So there are around 300 people on site in USA and a big team in Chennai backing their whole setup. The whole infrastructure, software, everything is managed by them. So their brand manager was coming to India just to so-called officially to meet the team and have a team building and all. But when the manager landed up in India, their only aim to come to India was just to meet the team for half a day. And balance days they wanted to just roam around, going around the cultural heritage of Chennai and Tamil Nadu and India, including the desire to ride an elephant. So I think despite our technological progress, at top management level, somewhere in US, there is still treat that we are a land of elephants and here we can come and ride an elephant. So we still have some way to go to ensure that our teams are globally recognized, not only as a workforce, but in the management. We have made a lot of strides where most of the CEOs, now new incoming CEOs are from Indian descent. So that has to be maintained and ensure that the hybrid workplace model gains more acceptance in all across organizations, because ultimately it will help you. This will not be realized unless we have specific steps for keeping women in workforce. Now, I think we have realized, at least in technology field, and if I am dealing with ITI and I work in Polytechnic, a lot of women are now coming, even in factories. And Tamil Nadu is known for a very, very high workforce participation, where almost 43% of all the women working in factories in India are from Tamil Nadu. But what we need is a system to let them have a career and a continuous path, right from entry, post-college or post-education, direct entry into the workforce, and how do they continue the work in the workforce till their normal retirement time. So generally a lot of disruption takes place during marriage, shifting or childbirth. So it is at this point where HRs have to evolve methodology to ensure that women can have a continuous career inside different organizations. So as I said, flexi time, work from home, that can be utilized and the policies can be tailored to help women during this crucial period where their family commitments may be impacting on their available time to devote to a corporate life. So if you are able to cross this hurdle, you will have an actual trained manpower without any disruption for a great support to women and for support to your organization, where the trained manpower doesn't go out of the workplace and then after 5 years and 10 years they again try to enter. And then they would have lost the zeal and lost the training, and the system would have gone to a totally different level of working. Then they have to again start from scratch. So it is a waste of human resources. So my request to all the participants here and the FICCI and HR team as a whole is to work out with every sector. Like every sector cannot be fit for such easy transitions, but I am sure there will be lot of sectors, including the technology sector, where if you take some 5%, 10% extra effort, then you can have better HR policies to address this disruption due to family reasons in the career of a woman. So if you are able to design policies and implement, you will be able to realize a great benefit where the workplace will have a continuous support of a large part of population without any disruption. So once again, I would like to wish you all the best and hope that the seminar today will motivate all of you to keep up the flame burning and keep the name of Indian workforce as a premier workforce in the world.